So, Jack, I know you are not some, you do not celebrate Christmas,
Yes,
for
I'm Jewish. Have
you're Jewish.
proud Jew.
Yes. And we love that. We love who you are. We love-
Whatever you want to celebrate is happy hour to you.
Exactly. So, for me, for a
I
lot of
once
years,
dated a Rockette though, so kind of Christmas or a
we
Rockette understudy.
we're gonna have to double back to that
Yeah.
story. That's definitely gonna have to be interesting.
A New York Rockette understudy, and now she's a Rockette in Ireland.
I don't even think there's card games where you can pick out these options of shit to go together. But that's just me. But Christmas was like it was never really my favorite holiday, but it was always the holiday growing up where it was like I get to spend the most time with my mom. Like my mom was a single mom, busy woman. She did her own cleaning service for a long time. So and I was a kid in Brooklyn. I wasn't always outside, but I was doing my own thing because of how busy she had to be to provide for us. Well, when I say us, me and her. So Christmas, we never really had a Christmas tree. We had a Christmas plant, and it was a Christmas plant that would light up and change colors, and that's where we would put our, gifts. She would make whatever she had to do, make do with whatever she could to get gifts and things of that nature. But it was always the smell of like sweet potato pie in the house, always the smell of like collard greens and mac and
Oh,
cheese. Our favorite time playing music and sometimes just dancing together. And these are just things that sit in my mind. Um,
that's beautiful. That's gorgeous.
yeah, it's moments like that I miss because we haven't lived together since I was like 19. And it wasn't really a choice. It was more of health and medical stuff for her, having lupus and arthritis. So it was like, it wasn't our choice. It was more of like the cards kind of came and we dealt with the, cards that was dealt. So Christmas is always a little bit more difficult. And then my uncle, who raised me, was like a father figure. Christmas was his favorite time. He was someone that was adopted, and he would always every Christmas would donate boatloads of toys for Toys and Tots. He would always just spend thousands, and also for kids who's in like cancer wards and stuff like that. Now, mind you, would we say my uncle had the most upright government legal job? No, he was a street hustler. He made his money how he had to, but he
This is America.
but he also made sure that kids who came from places like he did, didn't need. And um, he's been gone now for about 5 years. So when I think about Christmas, I think about him being gone. And this year, I lost a good friend whose favorite season was Christmas. So it's the Christmas season has not been very Christmassy for you, boy. It has not been very jingle bells. It has not been very, but this past weekend I spent it with my girlfriend and her family. And I loved it. I had a good time, a lot of laughs, won a lot of stuff. They had a lot of games and I won a lot of shit. Wanted me to put the Chipotle gift cards, some skincare. I wanted me a lot of stuff here. It's going to be
Yeah,
a beautiful 2024.
and
But
she's Spanish, right? So it
yes,
goes like well into the wee hours of the morning. Like you're
let me
winning
tell you.
shit at 1 a.m. like it's Vegas at the slot machines.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Like I won my last thing. It had to be 1:30 in the morning, and I won like a whole spa treatment. Like a whole spa treatment. Like I won like a home self care thing that had like bath salts. I think I have one right here. Yeah, like bubble bath, like liquid solution. All that. I think I got a bath bomb here. Like I won stuff like that. But I also won a Chipotle gift card. All these types of things. Like
And
her
you're like, the
family
best spa treatment right now would be if I could just go to sleep.
by like 1 o'clock. That little indicator of that social bar that us introverts have, it was dwindling, buddy. It was blinking.
Ah,
It had a check engine light on, and I was ready to pull over to the side and just be like, "Let me go take a nap, please," because it was
I'll be back
tiring.
later.
But it was a great time. But even with that, it's still the fact of you miss what you're accustomed to. You miss the people that you've grown and spent decades and years with spending it. Most of the times when I spend Christmas with my mom is through FaceTime. You know, we haven't seen each other since the pandemic. Like, I legit saw her like maybe 6 weeks before the pandemic started, and that's the last time we've got a chance to physically spend time, and that was for her birthday because her birthday's in January. So it's like it's the holidays is one of those things where I'm grateful, I'm a little sad, and also I'm overworked because let me tell you, commissions was beating my ass.
You're just getting a collision of fucking craziness right now.
It's like, you know what it's like? All right. Remember when Evolution turned on Randy Orton? Like, he's already on Batista's like shoulders. And then he's just like, oh yeah, like you're on top of the world, you feel good.
Gets the thumbs down from Triple H.
It's the Christmas season, just like as soon as it goes like this, just drops you. You getting your ass beat by like
jolly old Saint Nick just put the thumbs down on you.
Yep, and it's bills, commissions, emotions, just all whooping your ass in the most brutal way. So,
see, I have my own, like that co-payment. Like, I have insurance through my job, but that co-payment comes, and I've decided that if America isn't gonna do like free healthcare for all of that, I'm gonna do it myself, and I'm just not paying medical bills. I've the system. I'm just not going to pay it. I got it, the envelope. I opened it up. I've gotten it for like 3 straight weeks now, and I just threw it out. Come find me. I move like every 6 months. Find me.
Jackson, come take it from me, bitch. He said, come get it.
I fucking dare you. I got $45 on the table right now. Okay? Come inside my fucking home and get it.
This will probably if there's ever a video but they have to review us for monetization on YouTube, this probably will be the one where it gets shot. But there's a TikToker, and he talks about student loans, and he's like, "Come get it back in blood, pussy." It's just like, come get it. And I'm like, that's Jack to the medical profession. Like, you want your payment back? Come get this shit in blood.
You raggedy bitch.
Come get it. Spin the block. Come get this money. Come get this. But man, you know, if there's one thing I do enjoy, there's one thing I've learned to be grateful. It's just like moments like this, like us having moments like this, where we just talking and laughing, and even over this weekend, just have moments to talk and laugh. That's what life becomes. Because who knows where the hell we'd be at? You know, we could be anywhere else, but I'm happy to be here with you and to anybody who's listening. And that's the thing that makes these holidays so awesome. That being said, Jack, hit the intro.
This is Wrestling with Wromance, and I am Jack Simon.
And I, the other co-host, Life of Dean.
I appreciate you sharing a little bit about your girlfriend's holiday and getting brought into that side of the family. It's something I've never experienced. So I feel like for our holiday episode that we should talk a little bit about what it's like to be at your girl's or at your partner's holidays.
The funniest part about it is, so most of our family speaks Spanish. I know how to count up to maybe 15. That's it.
Muy bien.
See, I understand what that is. Very good. But there was a part where her cousin's like, Kadeem, you've been like with us how many Christmases and still don't know how to speak Spanish? I was just like, yeah. I was just like, yeah.
Okay, I see your point.
I was like, you're not wrong, but also it's like, you know, when life is crushing you and you're, you know, entrepreneur and you're trying to make it in a capitalistic world, sometimes you don't really think about how to speak Spanish. You know? Until everybody in the room is speaking Spanish, and you're just like, you know what would be great if I learned how to speak Spanish. But it's crazy. But I have a great time, honestly. Like, I love her family. Her family treats me like I am just like I've been here for years, which I kind of have. We're going on 5 years together.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're part of it now.
Pretty much. Like, I'm there. Like, I am family.
Yeah, they're not afraid to fight in front of you. They're not. Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, it's just there's not many of that.
Yeah, all the
But
pretenses are dropped.
of course,
I should say, yeah.
But beyond that, man, holiday season comes with a lot of things. Everybody feels different things on the holidays. So,
Yeah, that's like a gorgeous level of intimacy.
Yeah.
If you can weed past all the nonsense and like be really immersed in another family like that.
Yeah. It's like it's next level, and it's something where I've come to appreciate because I've had essential situations where I was not accepted. I was vehemently outright told I am not accepted. So it's it's kind of cool when it happens. It's something that I never overlook and I never take for granted because I've been on both sides of like accepted and then not accepted. So yeah. Jack, what's on your heart? Well,
yes.
Actually, I know what's on Jack's heart, and I want to tell people what's on Jack's heart because I'm very proud of Jack. When it comes down
Tell
to
me.
this thing that he's about to lovely
Oh.
talk about. This past week, Jack shared that he was actually interviewing Chavo Guerrero in regards to basically what he, not just him for like his career, but also what he did in regards to the Iron Claw movie. As Jack is a film reviewer, and he got a chance to see was that early screening?
An advanced screening of the Iron Claw.
Sorry.
You broke bitches.
I don't know the technical terms, sir.
No, I wasn't doing that to correct you. I was doing that to mock everybody.
But Jack had I would absolutely say it was an amazing interview. Did very great because I would have froze up, turned into a damn mark, especially me with Eddie Guerrero being one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I would have ended up asking Chavo 30,000 questions about Eddie, and then it just ruined it. But
it's just like the Chris Farley SNL skit where he's talking to like Paul McCartney. Hey, remember that time you were at the Beatles? That was awesome. Remember that time you and Chavo were Los Guerreros and were cutting promos inside of the convertible? Yeah, that was awesome.
I would have asked so many Los Guerreros questions, but Jack did such a masterful job in regards to just being very professional, asking him questions that I would never think of as Jack being a ski instructing coach. Well, ski instructor / coach, right? Or is it both?
Ski coach.
Ski coach.
Ski coach / program director.
Him relating to him on the coaching part. It was amazing. Jack, please, I want you to get into it.
Yeah. I mean, I knew going in that there was a couple of things I really didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be the person who's like, so book me a dream match for Zac Efron. I wrote that question down and I immediately deleted it.
I would have did it. I would have fucking did it.
Well, I didn't want to do it because I knew he had it was media day for him. Like he was doing 6 hours of interviews, 15 minutes each. I saw on the interwebs on the Twitter sphere that people were asking for send me questions to ask Chavo tomorrow.
Right.
From small wrestling outlets. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to do, and I figured he must be getting this question just over and over and over again. Right. And I've seen, even outside of the pro wrestling world, I've seen how these interviews work, these 15-minute interviews work. And it's a lot of questions like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of they ask them who do you think the next fucking Spider-Man should be?
Right.
And I think that's even this TV show Barry does that, lampoons him. But it's still, anyways, it's a lot of questions like that, just nonsense, viral baiting bullshit.
Right.
I knew I didn't want to be asking who's a better wrestler, Zac Efron or Jeremy Allen White.
Right.
I was like, these questions are silly. Or I also the question that got the furthest, that was a little mark in my notes, that was a little markish, was who would you rather wrestle, Jeremy Allen White or Zac Efron? But I didn't want to put him in a position that's going to be awkward,
Yeah.
or like he has to, he has to judge the people that he coached. As a fellow, and that leads me to the second thing. I was like, as a fellow coach, I can relate to him.
Yes.
Obviously not on his level, but like I've coached World Cup athletes. I've coached kids that are on the US ski team that have performed at nationals. I do have a bit, I understand the pressure that comes with needing results. It's two different things, and I figured but it's still, we can find common ground there.
Right.
And in the interview, he even said a couple times, he said, like, I'm sure as you know, and to set the scene here, like I was up coaching, like working on a mogul course, and then skied down and came sprinting in, got on the Zoom with my helmet still on, like in my ski boots, sent the kids. I was like, okay, go take a lap, go take a couple laps. I'll see you on the other side. Ripped my helmet off as we started talking. Like I'm trying to, like, I have my I always wear a bandana underneath my helmet. It's a Pride and Powerful bandana. Which, so like, I don't know.
He saw Pride and Powerful
bandana.
Oh, he knew you was a fan. He knew you was a wrestler.
I mean, there's no, like, I'm not lying here. Like, I was clear I'm a fan. No, but I kept that on, and then I like slowly took it off and like tried to do up my hair a little.
Right.
But it was also on the level of like, listen, I'm coaching. Like, this is my full-time gig. I'm running a program here. I'm trying to create Olympians. And he said, like, you're trying to create that, and I'm trying to create wrestlers. And I'm trying to create wrestlers not from scratch, but from an acting perspective.
I will tell people who, because unfortunately we was trying to see if we could actually get the video. Or video, or just a version of the audio. Okay.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
It's possible, like, that we can get clips.
I
will and make something happen. My editor has to ask the powers that be.
I will tell people, I didn't know what the fuck Jack had on when I first saw this thing come on. He looked like, if anybody's played Grand Theft Auto 5, he looked like one of the people that was in the trailer parks when you first meet Trevor. It was like one of those things where I was just like, Jack, what the fuck do you have on while you're talking to Chavo Guerrero?
That's my uniform. That's my work uniform. I have on the bandana, and I wear like a shearling vest underneath that like seals in the heat and has a nice hood that I can put up and keep my sides warm.
Also, I think it was like, I don't know if it was a Carhartt or whatever it looked type of jacket you had on or whatever it was, but that with the bandana, it definitely gave me Breaking Bad trailer park.
No, well, yeah, what you saw was the shearling vest, because on top is my like coach's jacket.
Yeah, okay, because it definitely gave me Breaking Bad trailer park for a second.
And that's how I'm just to talk to Chavo Guerrero. It was surreal for like once I'm there. I'm able to be very present in the moment. I think that also comes from coaching, and competing, and coaching and competing in an individual sport where it's a lonely fucking place in the gate, and it's a lonely place at the bottom of the run when you're looking up at it, just hoping against hope that your athlete does well. That I'm able to close off and be present in the moment. But coming in, I was like, I can't. Like, I watched this guy growing up. Like, when I was in middle school, when I was in elementary school, I watched this guy wrestle.
Shit, for me, elementary, middle school for both of us. Because, shit, I've been watching him since WCW days.
Yeah, fucking again, he goes way back. And so it was a very cool moment, especially as I did it like coach, where I was impressed with myself, which I don't really allow moments like that into my life. My mom insists I'm way too hard on myself. Like, whenever I get a new gig or a promotion or a film, she's like, "Are you excited?" And I'm, no. And that's the truth. Like, I'm not excited. To me, it's just work. Like, it's just the next thing I have to do, and do well, and then that's going to lead to the thing after that.
Yeah.
And I just don't allow these moments into my life, for better or for worse, whatever the fuck.
Right.
But this was a moment I actually stopped. I was like, I'm running a program, and now I had to take 20 minutes to go talk to Chavo Guerrero because I got an A24 advanced screening link, and I'm going to interview him for my column that runs every week.
That's dope.
Yeah, and I was impressed with myself. I took a moment, I took a breath, and I was like, "Wow, my life's pretty fucking cool."
You should be, honestly. You did a very great job. I think the main thing that stuck out to me is how comfortable he was in the conversation back and forth. Like you can tell when somebody's like, "Oh, here we go, one of these interviews." But it seemed like he was having a good time. Like if he didn't have a time limit, you guys would have ended up talking for like God knows how long.
Oh yeah, I could have talked to him like for another hour, and I mean, we got shut down,
Yeah.
and he still like he didn't even like flinch. He got because he got the same message I did,
Mm-hmm.
and he just kept talking to me. Like we went over like 5 minutes over,
Wow.
and he just kept talking to me, and we could have talked for longer and longer and longer. And it was most of my questions circled around him as a coach
Mm-hmm.
and him as the guy of bringing pro wrestling into Hollywood, because the two biggest pro wrestling Hollywood productions of the past 5 years have been Glow and The Iron
Mm-hmm.
Claw,
Yeah.
and both featured Chavo Guerrero as a coach and a consultant.
Right. Which makes sense when you think about where his family's lineage comes from. I mean, the Guerrero, like if you think about the Guerrero like name and lineage in wrestling, it's like it's seen as like Eddie is one of the best in ring workers possibly ever. Like you know what I mean? Like you look at some of those people and people that have been with them, it makes it sense. Like even Chavo. The thing that's me with Chavo was Chavo just didn't have the Eddie personality, but that's a personality that's once in a lifetime.
But to take the humility of
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'm not going to be the greatest pro wrestler of all time, and find his own lane. Like he stepped away from wrestling when he still could have wrestled for sure. I
Of
mean, he talks
course.
about that in the interview as well. He goes, "When I walked away from wrestling, I had to figure out what was next for me, but I stepped away because I wanted to find something greater."
Yeah. I think also I've always said this. Everybody wants to be the star of the show. Everybody wants to be the main star. Like everybody wants to be the greatest. They want to be. Sometimes you do have to realize you're not going to be the greatest at everything that you want to be, and sometimes you may have to find where your route may be. A lot of people want to be musicians that want to be like the lead artist. Maybe your job is an engineer. Maybe your job is like a writer. Maybe it's something in the back. It's not a bad thing. You're still going to get your credit. You're still working in your field. You just have to find the route that works for you. For him, coaching in Hollywood, it's still in the wrestling field. It's still something great. It's just a lane that belongs to him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't I think that's something amazing because I don't know many other wrestlers who like did this for like 20 years plus. Because he did it for like close to 20 years plus, if I'm not mistaken. And then went into coaching for Hollywood production. Like that's big.
And I think for wrestling, these avenues being widened is
Yes.
so important, because like now guys don't have to sacrifice their bodies and travel 300 days a year and do indie shows in a fucking armory in order
Mm-hmm.
to prove their point. Like Chavo is, and it's something I talked about at the end. It's like, what about this pressure of being the guy and carrying the sport into the mainstream? And the more he does that, the wider this road becomes, and the more people can take care, the more professional wrestlers can take care of their bodies and
Yeah.
find happiness and fulfillment in pro wrestling while not necessarily being a fucking pro wrestler.
Exactly. You know who I could see doing that? Ziggler.
Yes. Oh yeah. That would be so perfect for him.
I feel like that's perfect for him. Like I
I
feel
mean,
like
he's
it's
already got
perfect.
I mean, Ryan Nemeth is in the Iron Claw. His brother's in the
Mm-hmm.
Iron Claw. Um,
But real quick, what's something that you took away from him that like you feel like you learned during that conversation, even though it's not like the longest conversation, but I feel like there's so many
it
things
was
in
like
that
20
conversation.
minutes.
Yeah.
In terms of what? In terms of like as a fan, as a interviewer, as a person trying to make it in film, as a yeah,
Let's
all the
say
above.
I want to say something maybe in either category. Maybe as a fan who also sees something from the dynamic of wrestling in the mainstream, or like wrestling being filmed in a mainstream way, like in a movie. Like, what is something that you may have taken from him there? Maybe even as a fan, or even coaching wise, like something that he said
Yeah.
there on a
Oh, so
coaching
yeah,
level.
I'll do like one of each and talk about it.
Okay.
Talk about them all. As a fan, I would say the depths of his brilliance
Mm-hmm.
in of being a wrestler and working towards what works as a wrestler.
Right.
Because he was talking about, he's like, if I'm coaching a wrestler, I'm looking at their footwork. And I can tell the moment they step into the ring if this person knows what they're doing.
I always hit. I've never been to wrestling school. I've always heard for years footwork, and I'm like, I would love, like, if I went and made, maybe I played Powerball. Who knows? Maybe I may have bought a Powerball ticket. If I did, and I one, this would be these next two episodes be the end of the podcast. But
You
two,
got to be in it to win it.
I would actually go to wrestling school because I want to understand that. Like, I've always wanted to understand what they mean by the footwork. But also, it's like I've always been very, like, I think that's very awesome to see. Like, he's like, the first thing I look at is their feet. If they get what they're doing, like, that's very interesting.
Yeah, and like that was really cool for me to think about, of this person, of like, and I knew exactly what he was talking about, and I'll transition this into coaching now, because I can tell by the way somebody just stands on their skis, their level of skiing.
Gotcha.
And to see, like, before they even push down the hill, if I see you click into your skis, I know what level you're at.
Gotcha.
I know if you're beginning, intermediate, or expert, and of course there's a wide spectrum inside of that. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna know from the moment you click into your skis. Do you put on your downhill ski first? How comfortable are you getting into them? You need to use your poles to balance yourself. And I think, and like Chavo talking about your footwork and drilling that into them, of this is how you need to move in the ring in order to sell yourself as a professional wrestler who's been raised in this business, was so fascinating, because he, it's not the moves,
Right.
it's how you're going to make somebody feel. And if you're going to make somebody feel doubtful about your authenticity, it's never going to work.
Yeah.
So then as a coach, what I took away was the trust he talked about with his athletes, with Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, who are, I mean, Zac Efron is, an A+ celebrity, and Jeremy Allen White is right there on the A-list tier now too. Like, he's done The Bear, he's done Shameless, he's worth a boatload of money, and is definitely pegged as like the next big star in Hollywood.
I have to finish The Bear eventually.
The Bear's amazing. And also like budding young actors who are in their first A24 Oscar worthy production, and I'm gonna find their names real quick because I don't want to leave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Out.
I just love how this is flow. I just love hearing this, because it's the fact of, like, us fans, we don't get, listen, we maybe one day, I'm not even gonna say maybe, but one day we here at Wrestling with Wromance will get some of our favorite wrestlers on this goddamn podcast, and we'll be able to interview them. I want that to happen, but to hear you interview a legend, someone comes, not just a legend himself, but comes from a legendary family and is coaching people. It's so interesting to hear this. Do you have their names?
Yeah, Harris Dickinson as David Von Erich and Stanley Simmons as Mike Von Erich, to take them and be able to establish trust,
right,
and then be patient, because he knows he has to turn it. Something else he talked about in the interview, he knows he has to turn it around quickly. They're under budget and they're under a shooting schedule, but he still needs to lead them to water, and then they have to drink. He can't say, okay, today we're going to beat our bodies up He has to make them confident enough that they bring it up and that they're willing to do it and they're willing to try these things because they wrestled full matches.
That is nuts. I had heard him say that in another interview about like they did full matches, and I'm like, that sounds fucking exhausting.
Yeah, they all of them wrestled full matches, and then they edited what they want out of it. So they're taking a lot of bumps. They're putting in a lot of fucking effort.
That makes sense because the guy from the Bear, what's his name again? Jeremy
Allen White.
Jeremy Allen White was talking about his appreciation now for wrestling.
Yeah.
And it makes sense if they're doing full matches because you are understanding everything, the cardio, the work, everything that they got to do to make a match come together, and it's nonstop.
And he said in his other productions, they were just shooting like the segments, like 30 seconds here, 15 seconds here, the finish there. And that this one was special in that they were doing full matches. So as a coach, thinking about how the psychology of coaching, that I perhaps shouldn't push my athletes so hard,
right?
That I should have more patience with them, that I should have them trust me, and then have them come to me and be like, okay, I'm ready to progress and move on to the next thing.
I can see that for sure. For sure, can see that, man. Yeah, I agree, man. That's so fucking awesome, dude. I can't say enough. One, how excited I was when you told me that you was getting that opportunity. I was super excited. And then two, once again, amazing job that you did in that interview. I do want you to plug it where people can find it.
Check it out on the aspentimes.com. It's the Iron Claw. You can just search that up. It came out a few days ago. We had like an Academy screenings, and we got an early showing of it in the Aspen Isis Theater. But I got it an advanced screening link sent to me by A24. I'm now going to sell A24 email to a bunch of desperate NYU kids.
And there goes our podcast. A24 is going to be suing me.
Yeah, you can check it out at aspentimes.com, and I hope to get the full, because I am really proud of it. I am really proud of the interview. So I'm going to be pretty bummed if I can't do anything with it. Right. If I can't publish it somewhere in full.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to keep leaning onto my editor until she fucking breaks and lets me publish it. If not in full, at least like my favorite parts of it.
Yeah.
Because like technically I am freelance. Technically it's my fucking interview.
Hey, it's your work.
Oh, yeah, it's my work and I'm proud of it. And I had to do like bite quotes, like little quotes here and there. And there's so much more good stuff in there. And I also did it. So I had to turn it around that same day. So I'm literally writing the column on the chairlift in between runs.
I wish people could have seen that day. You know, there's certain things I'll never touch this podcast, but let me tell you, last Wednesday was a Hall of Fame day for Jackie. Jack knows exactly what I mean by it's a Hall of Fame day for Jackie. Jack took like the Usain Bolt like pose at the end of running the gold medal after like beating everybody else out by like a long stretch. Like he was just like, just like.
I sprinted a marathon that day.
You sprinted a marathon and you celebrated like you sprinted 3 in a row. Also, what's your since you've seen the movie and you reviewed it, what's your thoughts on Iron Claw before we get to our bookings?
It's something I've gone back and forth with. So the movie itself is very good. Okay. I'm gonna throw like an 8.2 out of 10 out there.
That's a good rating.
Yeah. Like I don't. It's not gonna make like my top 5 of the year. It might make my top 10.
Okay.
And I've been saying what made me happiest is I've been saying for a long time that Zac Efron is a really, really good actor. And this proved without a shadow of a doubt the kid's a goddamn thespian. He it's like he made the High School Musicals
Right.
and we held it against him for the rest of his life. Because
That's fair. That's fair.
he did We Are Your Friends, which is
Never seen it.
underrated movie from 2015 where he plays a DJ, like an aspiring DJ, and it's really, really well done. It's a very good, interesting movie that smuggles in some dramatic, sad themes in what's ultimately like a pop culture treasure, where you have like celebrity DJs popping in and it's fun and Zac Efron parties, but it is a very well done film, and it didn't hit. Like I don't think it made money, or if, at the very least, it didn't make much money, and it didn't get much acclaim because nobody was ever going to take him seriously, which is so fucking unfortunate. And then he pops up in Beach Bum in 20.
That movie sounds familiar. I don't know why. Is that Spring Break type of like?
Same director.
Okay.
Harmony Korine. And I mean, it's very much a Harmony movie too. But he plays a like Matthew McConaughey runs into him for like 15 minutes and they like party together. But Zac Efron's again amazing in it. He plays kind of like, the trashy king of his trashy Florida town.
Got you.
And he's ripping a vape and he has ridiculous facial hair, and he's so good in that role. He completely loses himself in that role. Like he's not playing Zac Efron as a trashy Florida king. He is the trashy Florida king.
And I guess you can apply that to here. First of all, the size he got on.
He had to be juiced to the gills. And like you still need to work out really hard to get to that. Sorry, allegedly he was a juice to the gills.
Allegedly.
I mean, you still have to work out really hard in order to get that physique.
Yeah.
So like kudos to him for doing that.
Kevin Von Erich?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's and this proves he's a fucking thespian. Okay. There's one scene in particular towards the end that if you've seen it, and if you haven't, you'll recognize it, where he's able to convey so much emotion in just a look, like no dialogue, just in his mannerisms, in his body, in his physical chemistry, and the pain, the depthful pain inside of his eyes. He's a fucking thespian. So that made me really happy to see. What was hardest for me to separate is like the truth of the story. And I had to, because it's not really accurate. In fact, it's pretty far off. And I'm fine with that. You have to pick a story to tell in a movie. You can't tell the whole story.
I mean, I had seen a tweet that kind of goes with this, where someone was like, they didn't know about the Von Erich story, so they went to see Iron Claw. But then when they came out, they found out that the story is actually much more sad, and they were like, "What do you mean?" Like they put up, I saw that tweet. What do you mean that it's sadder than what I just saw? This is already tragic. What do you mean?
It only gets fucking worse.
Yeah, it is just like I had to think about that when I thought about it. I was like, I don't know if you could make a movie as truly on detail as tragic as that story really is.
Well, what really made me sad is that Chris Von Erich spent his whole life in the shadow of his brothers and constantly concerned that he would never live up to the Von Erich family name and he would be forgotten about. And then they leave him out of the fucking movie entirely. They pretended like he didn't exist. They pretended like he was never even born.
I had heard about that, and I was just like, that sounds fucking wild.
Yeah, so like that made me like, I was like, that sucks. Like objectively, that sucks.
Right.
And not just like I feel artistically, I think it's a bad choice, and then ethically, I feel like it's really awful to do, to pretend like he never existed at all.
Right.
And then I think also leaving out Lance Von Erich and the dad who tried to invent a brother
Yeah.
is also, and leaving out that story, that I think was artistically a poor choice. Like I think that could have really helped fill out the
But wait,
character.
I thought the character that MJF played, even though it's like not even fully seen, isn't he playing the cousin or whatever, the brother that they try to make?
Yeah, but like it's never, they shot a
Really
lot more
talking.
of it and they cut it out entirely.
Gotcha.
He's in
So
it.
it's more
They
of an
like,
editing thing.
yes, they shot it and
Okay.
then they got rid of it. Like Kevin is tagging with him.
Right.
But it's not really seen at all.
Gotcha.
And I thought that would be really cool to see, and also add more artistic integrity and depth to the film. And so knowing all that, I had to separate it from the movie I actually saw, because I can only critique and judge the movie that was made.
Right.
And there's some problems with it. It's melodramatic at times. I thought the let me find Holt McCallany, who I actually have enjoyed his work before. He plays the dad, Fritz Von Erich. I thought he kind of sucked.
Okay.
So there's issues there, but overall, a really good movie that I think everybody should go and see. And if you're a wrestling fan, it's a must watch.
I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to wait, because it's supposed to come on streaming, if I'm not mistaken, because A24 and Max have a deal together. So it's supposed to become on streaming. But I'm trying to figure out if I want to do that or if I want to see it in theaters.
I mean, I don't know about streaming because I have a screening link personal for me. So, you know, good luck everybody else, I guess.
Go fuck yourself, Jack. Don't flex on us, all right?
Speaking of flexing, let's do our fucking let me do my bonkers pro wrestling
Yay!
booking.
Let's get into it. So
yeah,